Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. We are getting ready today to get into the fourth and final day of the first week of the group stage of Worlds of 2022, and obviously things are going pretty well for Europe so far, and I'm very, very excited about that. Fnatic is looking strong. Rogue is still undefeated. G2, they are 1-1. They haven't really had that moment where they've looked super, super great just yet. Obviously, they beat NA, but everybody's beating NA right now. But hopefully G2 will be able to pick up a big win at some point, and it would be really crazy if we were able to get like 2 or 3 European teams out of groups. But unfortunately, the bigger story right now for a lot of people, partly because, hey, if Europe does do well, they're going to have a long tournament ahead of them. But for North America, this tournament might not be lasting much longer. So that's kind of why people got to talk about them right now. And the 0-18 dream is still alive and well, and this is very, very crazy, very, very concerning, and I wanted to talk about what's going on with North America a little bit right now, what's going on with the NA teams, and what this means for the future of North America as well, because North America has had struggles at Worlds before. That is no secret. And this is the worst year ever. Previously, they said that North America's worst start to a Worlds was 0-5. North America is currently 0-7. So we went from 0-5 to 0-6 to 0-7, and we still don't even know, when we're going to win our next game. I don't even know what the games are today that North America is playing. Today, North America has 100 Thieves against RNG, EG against Damwon Kia. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems like, going 0-9 is like probably the expected outcome at this point, and then who knows when we're actually going to pick up our first win. And so far, 7 games into the tournament, we've only had one game that we maybe even could argue that we could have won or should have won potentially. C9 Fnatic was close for a little while, and C9 did kind of keep it close in some of those fights and stuff, but C9 wasn't ever very close to winning. The only game that's even been relatively close was JDG against Evil Geniuses, and even in that game, JDG ended up getting a 10,000 gold lead, so it's really hard to say that EG should have won that game. EG could have potentially won that game, but I don't even know if they ever had a gold lead. If they ever had a gold lead, it was a couple hundred or something like that. Even after they got an ace, I'm pretty sure the gold just evened out or something like that, but whatever. When we take a look at the group standings right now, I didn't mean to click on that, but you will see that, you have Cloud9 sitting here at 0-3. In this group, you have EG at 0-2. And here in the bottom right, I'm going to cover it up. I'm not even going to show it. You guys don't need to see it. You know what's behind my face right now. It's 100 Thieves at 0-2 at the bottom of their group. And I will say, in years past, saying the worst NA's ever gone is 0-5, now they're 0-7, it's a little bit different because groups really are harder than they have ever been. Adding the LPL 4 seed, adding the LCK 4 seed, even Europe had 4 seeds this year, and they didn't make it out, but that just means that somebody stronger than them made it out. There used to be a lot more free wins in the group stage, and there used to be a lot more weaker overall teams and minor regions and stuff like that, and there aren't that today. That's not really an excuse, but I am just saying the 07 this year doesn't directly compare to some of the years in the past, but it is just absolutely embarrassing, and it has been very, very frustrating, especially when you have 100 Thieves being in the group with Flying Oyster and 100 Thieves dropping the game to Flying Oyster as well. Now, I will say that a lot of the stuff going on in this world isn't entirely shocking to me, even as an NA fan coming into this world. I did think that NA would be better than Vietnam in the PCS, and I do hope that 100 Thieves is able to come back and stomp the Flying Oysters, but either way, NA can only go even against Flying Oysters at this point. But either way, the Vietnamese team in the PCS 2 seed in play-ins, they were not very strong, so I don't really think it's fair to say that the PCS or PCS is better than NA at this point or anything like that, especially if Flying Oysters goes 1-5 or 2-4 or whatever, and Gigabyte Marines maybe go 0-6, who knows, but the point being, I didn't have super high expectations for NA coming into this event. Yes, I was very high on Cloud9, and I'm very, very disappointed with how they've looked. I know some of the C9 players and stuff are saying that the meta change really, really hit them and really hurt them. That's very possible. Also, I think C9 is underperforming. I don't think Fudge is as bad as he is playing at this event. We've seen Fudge do good at international tournaments before. Just last year, Fudge was much better internationally. It's not like Fudge is just a guy who gets freaking 40 CS gapped in every single lane with counter pick. At some point it's meta, at some point it's drafts, at some point it's play, at some point you're just not very good. And obviously this year North America just simply is not very good. Now it is weird because obviously we had the EG3 over Mad Lions, and that got us hyped up and that got us excited, and that still is meaningful to some extent, but hey, this group stage has been an absolute disaster. And, we've heard some people talking about it, saying some stuff. And one of the biggest things, I thought this was just a really, really funny meme. This guy on Reddit, he said, actually so clutch that New York City has 3 airports. Each of our teams can fly home to LA without having to look each other in the eyes. And that's a banger. That's absolutely hilarious. It really does make it suck even more that this world is in North America and all of these teams. And even like TL and TSM and the teams who didn't make it, they were all like, hey, NA is that world, Worlds is in NA this year. We need to showcase our talent and our team in front of our advertisers, in front of our fans. We need to make a big run. And then you had the absolute disasters and disappointment that were TL and TSM. And then even the teams that did make it, they're probably wishing they weren't here performing right now, especially on North American soil. At least EG, had the play-ins run and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't come into the tournament with high expectations for 100 Thieves or EG. I think 100 Thieves is just a really bad team. I think they're boring. I think they're just not very good. And then EG, I think they can be good, but obviously they were coming in with a sub 80 carry, and it was just going to be tough overall because I think EG, like I said, can be good at their best, but they're not always amazing either. I did have hopes for C9 since I have a bunch of veterans, and I really think Berserker is just insane. But yeah, things did not go their way, and I tweeted out this as well. I said we legit might go 0-18, and that's insane. Like, who would have ever thought that coming in? Even the biggest NA hater in the world would not have thought that NA would have a chance to go 0-18 and would be 0-7 at this point. Now, I don't expect them to go 0-18, but again, they're going to be the underdogs in every single game they have left to play, except for 100 Thieves against Flying Oysters. I think 100 Thieves will come in as a favorite in that game once again. It doesn't mean they're going to win, but again, with 11 games left to play or whatever, they're going to be underdogs 10 or 11 of those games. So, like, going 0-18 might be the expected outcome at that point. And I said we are going to be spending less money than ever next year. We've already heard that from many, many teams. It seems like TL is going budget. It seems like TSM was not willing to give out much of a pay raise to speak of. It seems like TSM's probably going to be going budget next year. We had Wooloo tweeting out that a lot of NA teams are going to be cutting back. They're going to be spending less. One, because of all the disasters from spending that we've seen. 2, North American talent rising up, guys like Danny and JoJo and even Vulcan having a very, very good year this year. And 3, the fact that there are, just these cheaper ways to get players who are maybe just as good. And we also have like the esports winter and economic issues and all this stuff. But if this is what it looks like when we're spending all this money, next year could be really, really, really rough. Now, I do agree, in the long term, we need to stop spending as much. I don't even think we need to stop spending as much, because I think you still need to be, like, aggressive in the offseason, and you should spend it and try and get, good players and stuff like this. But we have guys like Tenacity and Busio and Ayla and Jan and all the, we have some good players in Academy. Those guys need to be in the LCS. Like, it's an absolute goddamn shame that Tenacity did not get to play in the LCS at all this year after looking as good as he did last year in Academy, and then, going to Korea or China or wherever they were, and doing so good in solo queue and all that stuff. So there are exciting talents, and I think in the long run, seeing what Europe has been able to do with their regional talent and the ERLs and all that stuff, NA needs to do that with the collegiate scene and amateur and academy and all that stuff, but that stuff's going to take time. The ERLs didn't pop up overnight. NA is going to rebuild. They are going to spend less. They are going to cut back. But that doesn't mean those talents and those players are going to be ready to go next year or even, maybe 2-3 years in the future. It might take 4 or 5 years to get a development pipeline going and have enough players getting to a really, really strong level. Because again, the better players you have, they're going to test each other. They're going to make each other better. You're also going to develop new metas, new playstyles, all that stuff. So hopefully at some point in the future, we're going to be good. But man, right now, things are very, very dark for North America. I think the future is not that bright for North America either. But I do think there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think if we start developing talent, start calling people up, I think a huge issue has to be infrastructure, coaching, management, all that stuff too. You can't just blame the players. Our players are underperforming and doing bad, but I think you also have to say, man, our coaches, our talent, our development, all this stuff is sucking and, doing really, really bad as well. I think NA needs massive changes, massive overhauls. We need to invest in the future. We need to go young. We need to put resources into our talent. And that doesn't mean just cutting back budgets or cutting back spending. It means spending money in the right places, still being aggressive, still be, exciting and trying to win and trying to make things happen. And I do think that, especially if we go 0-18 or 2-16 or 1-17 or whatever, it's going to be a really, really major catalyst for damn, this is the kick in the ass we needed to make some changes, to get going. But yeah, this sucks right now. It's absolutely embarrassing as a North American fan. I know that all the players and teams are very, very disappointed, very, very embarrassed. it's not too late to turn things around. We could get hot. We could, have some kind of NA week 2 buff or something like that. But either way, this has been very, very rough, and it also sucks at the same time. I mean, it sucks and it's good. Like, I'm happy Europe's doing well, but it also sucks at the same time with Europe doing so well and then NA, being directly compared to them. But yeah, NA fans are becoming Western fans of this world. We're rooting for Europe. We're hoping they make a deep run, and just hoping that NA can make some good changes this offseason. And man, this offseason is going to be very, very spicy for all these teams, because all these teams are going to be finished very, very soon, and they're going to have to make some big and tough decisions going into 2023. There's going to be a lot of players available. There's going to be a lot of players moving teams and changing around. That's going to make for a fun offseason, and I don't know. There's just a lot up in the air right now. I didn't have high hopes for NA coming into this Worlds except for Cloud9. I was hoping that they could surprise people. But I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I didn't think it was going to be this bad this fast. And yeah, I'm just disappointed overall. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about anything we talked about in this video today. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.